Day 148 of the Aladdin sessions. Robin Williams is now singing The Barber of Seville during one of his trademark tangents. All of this started after the 10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neckline. Thankfully, Robin has riffed so much that Aladdin is now ready for its theatrical release. But they have not yet told him that he needs to stop. So they animated another movie in the meantime so they could get him while the riffing was hot. Also, Robin Williams is in a birdcage and there's not one Gene Hackman, Nathan Lane, or Hank Azaria in sight.
How about a nice, soothing cigarette?
Feels like the producers of this cartoon missed their target audience by about 40 years.
I don't want to get big cancer. No, my lungs are blackened.
Sending the cartoon that you've been hired to do voices for.
Lou, millions of kids see this cartoon.
This cartoon? I think not.
If you want to play Gandhi, then do it on somebody else's time.
Then I've got to do what I've got to do.
Aw, man, Robin, I love you, man, but we are morally obligated to send this.
In the words of Porky Pig,
Piss off, Lou.
Porky never said that. Shame. Shame on you.
Got a surprise for you.
A stripper?
I bet you forgot that this movie contained a 12-year-old asking for a stripper on his 12th birthday.
Mom's not gonna be home for another 4 hours, is she?
Jeez, I was kind of joking about Robin Williams still being in Aladdin, but now I might have to be serious about it. Deadly serious. Since walking away from his job, how did this asshole hire a mobile petting zoo and arrange a birthday party inviting kids on short notice? And how does he think all this entertainment is going to be crammed into 4 hours? Also, this horrible marketing on the side of the petting zoo vehicle makes it seem the title of the business is Mobile Petting Zoo Bob's. Also, in order to pull this highly secret party off, the invitation had to include do not RSVP, do not tell anyone. And then not one parent called in with questions while Miranda was there to pick up the phone. Impossible, I say. Preposterous. Sinful even. This petting zoo's party policy is to pull up to the home and unleash the animals anywhere, anytime, apparently. This free-range bunny has managed to avoid 7 run-ins with vehicles and who knows how many near-death experiences by canines. But hey, only the strong survive at Mobile Petting Zoo Bob's.
Miranda Hillard, please.
Oh, Flo's really about to get someone to kiss her grits over this.
And he specifically asked for you, Miranda.
It's like they hired Martin Mull to play his Mr. Mom character without any actual impact to the plot. He shows up later to introduce Pierce Brosnan, and that's it. Hey, you knew you had Martin Mull, didn't you, movie?
Are you aware that it's illegal to possess animals of a barnyard nature in a residential area, man?
Dude, there's a trailer that says Bob's Mobile Petting Zoo outside with an obvious birthday party going on inside. Cops are always trying to get you on possession. Closed box of cake in this shot, slightly ajar box of cake in this shot, making it easier for hilarious cake-eating pony to eat cake. Also, soccer. Just to be extra, the movie suggests that the party for the 12-year-old would also include little kids, too. That way, even more chaos could erupt in the home. When the movie makes Daniel out to be the hero later on, remember that he was the sort of asshole that would allow a goddamn pony to roam around the house, pissing and shitting everywhere.
Don't get mad, honey.
Telling a woman who was uninvited to her own family celebration in her own home to not feel her feelings.
Maybe we can go to a family therapist. They'll help us through this together.
It's too late for that.
You see, I have a really good shot at Pierce Brosnan now.
We love each other.
Soon to take its lofty place in the industry alongside the Vertigo shot, Chris Columbus presents the I Don't Love You Anymore Zoom.
Mr. Hillard, I would like to add that this ruling is only temporary.
Oh, good.
I will assign a court liaison to oversee your case, and there will be a continuance of these proceedings in 90 days.
What a judge. He just said.
It is the court's ruling to award sole custody to Mrs. Hillard.
And the only reason not to have said temporary sole custody is if the judge is a massive asshole.
3 months in which to get a job, keep it, and create a suitable home.
What has Daniel been doing since Miranda wanted a divorce? Not like you decide you're going to get divorced, hire lawyers to battle for the children, and have your court case seen by a judge overnight. So from the divorce request to now, at least a month has passed. So what has Daniel been doing since then? Lying around? Did his lawyer forget to advise him that if he wanted to have joint custody, he'd need to have a job and a place to live? I'm glad the movie shows us Danny putting the last box in his car in real time before it finally gets to the part where he's saying goodbye to the kids. I would have been tortured wondering if he packed before he left.
I do voices.
Far be it for me to criticize a montage of Robin Williams doing a bunch of funny accents and impressions, but goddamn, this is indulgent. It's like the people making the movie don't trust the audience to sit through the more dramatic parts unless he suddenly breaks out into his character from Good Morning Vietnam.
There was a time when I found myself funny, but today you have proven me wrong. Thank you.
Me after reading the comments section.
Well, you take all these cans, you box them, and you ship them.
How the f did Danny not know what kind of job he was applying for? Did he literally just look at the job opening that said something vague about working at a studio and not bother to figure out what it was? How does this guy even dress himself?
After you box them.
You ship them. Lots of luck, smartass.
Kids these days will never understand how hard we had it back in the day. Boss just said, go do that, and you had to figure it out yourself. There were no tutorials, no hand-holding. Uphill. Both ways.
You look better than ever.
I can't tell which is worse. Filler dialogue about interior design trends,
A tufted sofa, a Flemish tapestry, a brass-bound Regency-style table.
or the dismissive nature of Stu as he ignores her professionalism and tries to find his dating angle.
You realize I've been following your career in the trades these past couple of years.
What are things that stalkers say? I'd like fruits that start with Q for 400, Alex.
I'd love to get reacquainted, catch up.
Holy shit, man. This guy really wants to pierce her Brosnan super hard.
It's good to see you again.
My body is not prepared for this. I mean, I wrote the fan fiction ages ago, but I never thought I'd see the day that James Bond and Forrest's mom would be in a situation to potentially gump uglies. Miranda is in the middle of a goddamn city block. Why does she think this honking is going to be heard the way she intends?
You are an hour early, and you were an hour late dropping them off.
Get smart, Daniel. Write that down and present it to the judge so he can penalize Miranda.
Just let me look at the ad. I have a right as their father, please.
This movie really doesn't understand what rights a person has after a divorce, does it?
Hope you didn't
Okay, but won't she take a look at the ad once the newspaper publishes it and then request a change? Besides that, isn't there someone you give this to who asks you to verify the information before it gets printed?
I don't work with the males, because I used to be one.
Where is Joke?
Layla, get back in your cell. Don't make me get the hose.
Miranda was married to Danny for 14 years. To think that she has no idea that this is fucking Danny is a fucking insult. The ad only had 2 numbers listed, but Miranda is getting calls on her cell, her work phone, and now her home phone. She should absolutely be onto the fact that she's being fucked with somehow. Mainly because our evil plan has been implemented around the world. Modern movie newspapers rarely try the method that Mrs. Doubtfire does, which uses the vague nonsense template for its article underneath the headline.
Doubtfire.
Finding your fake name by Jan Bradying it cliche aside, apparently all you need to apply for a job in 1993 is a last name.
Could you make me a woman?
Luckily, Danny has a brother that can do Oscar-winning prosthetic makeup.
I don't know, this will scare the children.
Yet another montage gives Robin Williams the opportunity to once again do a bunch of voices that are mildly funny. This is like the 4th time this movie has gone back to this well. Gotta admit, Robin Williams makes a pretty great Barbra Streisand, but for fuck's sake, do you guys have an actual plan for what he should look like? You guys must be doing hours of makeup for a concept that could have been rejected with a simple sketch. Okay, so now that we see what Danny looks like as Mrs. Doubtfire, isn't it about time we talk about how this movie is just Tootsie all over again? And maybe some like it hot? I don't know, I guess there are a ton of things you can do with this premise, and I'm just angry here's a sin.
Euphegenia Doubtfire.
Did Danny pick this first name just for the joke? This guy's like a serial killer who wants to get caught.
Look, why can't Dad do it?
The answer is something the courts, but she's right. There is absolutely no reason why Danny can't do this job without resorting to becoming a completely different person, except for one reason. Movie.
I would love for you to come and work with us.
Are you not going to do any background check whatsoever? Considering how high up Miranda has gotten in the world, it's hard to believe she has no common sense. You know what? I'm just not going to finish that sentence so I can keep my sentence.
Hope you have something nice and warm to go home to.
Movie doesn't have the courage to go where everyone was hoping this family movie would go. A XXX throwdown between Mrs. Doubtfire and the bus driver.
I'm his sister.
I'm not saying anyone should be able to figure out that Danny is Mrs. Doubtfire right away, but considering all the voices he's performed in front of this woman and his wife, I'm shocked no one actually suspects that he is.
I have an appointment.
I know Mrs. Sellner said she'd be visiting every Monday and Friday night, but wasn't Mrs. Doubtfire's interview...
Monday night at 7:30?
And didn't the interview last for a while? And didn't she take a bus home? How late is this woman coming to see Danny?
Yes, I want to keep you abreast of some of the changes in my career.
During his entire transition back into Danny, he manages to come up with so many puns about his body that relate to his career that I want to sin it for him being able to pun so calmly and effortlessly in this situation. But game recognized game. If Hollywood is to be believed, everyone in the world leaves their windows open for maximum plot points and hijinks. Danny risks the look around the corner without, like, putting a towel over his head or something. This cake will be his comedic savior, but the f does Danny have a cake in his fridge? And maybe he'll say, maybe he got it for the kids or some shit. I'm still gonna call this cake way too plot convenient not to sit. Could he change clothes in a stall? Sure, fine. It would be difficult, but he could. Could he glue a mask to his face, blend the seams to match his skin, apply makeup, and adjust his wig perfectly all while in the bathroom stall? No. No, he couldn't.
We always watch Dick Van Dyke.
After the cartoon at the beginning and these young kids watching Dick Van Dyke after school, are we sure this isn't set in some weird Watchmen reality where the 50s and 60s became permanent entertainment? Also, this Dick Van Dyke reference has to be some sort of Secret Mary Poppins reference too, right?
I know you're used to loosey-goosey, but I run a much tighter ship.
Given Danny's character traits, I don't get why he's being such a hard ass. I thought the point was that he got to spend time with the kids, not running a tight ship. This is the kind of thing you do if you expect to be discovered, and you can point to all the positives that lying to your family brought to them. Danny has given the preschooler the arduous task of polishing metal without wearing gloves. Kid can't even read the warning label. One wrong booger pick or eye scratch, and this kid will be passing out and waking up blind or some shit. Why is it that when a dude in a movie who knows nothing about cooking and is trying to fake his way through a situation like this, he always tries to make one of those complex multi-pot dinners he has zero chance of pulling off? No one hears this and no one recognizes the scream as Daniel's. Movie thought it could slip Mrs. Stuntfire through without me noticing, and the movie is goddamn wrong. Also, all lashes, hairs, and living tissue survived this. Also, his shirt was blackening on the flames a moment ago, but now the shirt is in pretty good shape.
How much do I owe you?
$135.27.
$135.
How the f do you not know the price of the food you just ordered to be delivered to your door? Or at least have an idea?
There's 140. Do you have change?
Trying to not tip the delivery driver on a $135 order. You want me to like Danny, don't you?
Lydia, dear, get back inside right now before you freeze.
Oh, so it's cold at night? Is there a reason why you keep your fucking windows open when it's apparently cold outside? Now, here's the obligatory playing of Dude Looks Like a Lady that we all knew was going to happen during one of these montages. Currently approaching Rocky IV territory. Even when this asshole starts learning how to cook, he goes straight to fucking lobster. Learn how to cook a chicken breast and veggies before you go to the high-end stuff. We've already seen he has some money problems too. Fucking lobster. It's like this movie decided, what if Robin Williams did risky business and gave him another riffing montage?
What a beautiful little car for Don Juan.
I get it. Robin Williams is the hero of this picture and we root for him because he's Robin Williams. But Danny's a total dick. This kid is 12 years old. Has he really not figured out that you don't walk into a bathroom door that's closed? I guess not, since the movie wants to inflict some more trans panic.
You don't really like wearing that stuff, do you, Dad?
I mean, why should people be happy doing stuff that hurts no one? That would be so
Who did this?
Uncle Frank and Aunt Jack.
The last 6 minutes of this movie have done more to bring this movie down than any other part of it. Danny is awful, but the movie's trans panic and then its implication of gay people as a gateway to deviance makes this movie really hard to watch.
What kind of idiot kept this guy on the air for 25 years?
25 years? How do you even have money to make a show that bores viewers for 25 years? This is one of those scenes in movies where you will swear that the people in it have been stuck in a Groundhog Day-like loop. Only everyone noticeably ages during it. There's no hope till the protagonist shows up and breaks the curse.
She says that Daniel has some woman living with him, pretending to be his sister.
And that's all. She didn't say that his sister has a British accent or that she works as a housekeeper or anything that would give away the fact that Daniel is underneath all that makeup.
It was a drink that killed him.
How awful. He was an alcoholic.
No, he was hit by a Guinness truck.
You see, the right answer here is yes. I know that wouldn't allow for the joke, but who's the joke for? Miranda isn't going to laugh at it. Does Mrs. Doubtfire know there's an audience watching her?
I was working all the time, and he was always between jobs.
I really thought I heard Danny say,
Lou, millions of kids see this cartoon.
which suggested that the cartoon he was on was a huge hit, and he was a star of it since he did all the voices. But even if that's a misunderstanding, how does a dynamic performer like Danny have a hard time getting work? A voice guy this talented, who is in fact Robin Williams, even if the movie denies Robin Williams' existence, should be getting tons of voice work, especially since he wouldn't command a Robin Williams paycheck. I'm sure there are a ton of people who fit this profile in real life, but it feels really disingenuous in this case.
It's on me.
I get that Danny is drunk, but he is not nearly drunk enough to think this is a good idea. He should be nearly passing out if that's the case.
What about their real father?
What can I say, Ron? The guy's a loser.
So after telling Ron that he loves Miranda and loves her kids and there's no hidden agenda, this is supposed to make us hate Stuart? Stuart's only saying what Miranda has told him or implied. And this still doesn't change the fact that Danny is an asshole. Also throwing limes at limeys.
It's a dinosaurus line!
The screenwriters make everything so convenient for Danny in this scene that it's almost like he expected to be discovered by the studio boss and given a new job.
I think kids would like it. They'd be entertained and they'd get some information.
Nowhere during that entire performance did Danny say anything informational, unless you were getting introduced to singers like Elvis Presley and James Brown for the first time.
Next Friday, Bridges Restaurant, 7 o'clock sharp.
I'll be there.
In Danny's world, everything important takes place on a Monday or Friday for maximum conflicts. Furthermore, there was absolutely no way he would ever try to change the date because a guy like Jonathan Lundy couldn't possibly be reasonable.
Take 5. Take 5 million. You're dead.
Not cool, bro. Too soon.
Let me take the kids after school.
I can't get rid of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Maybe I'm just too smart for my own damn good, but shouldn't this be the moment Daniel decides to kill off Mrs. D? She's standing in the way of him being around the kids, and her death won't require jail time.
I wore that to my aunt's funeral in 1976.
And it's still in your closet. Shame on you for not purging, dearie.
Friday night, 7 o'clock. We're going to my favorite restaurant, Bridges. I
Say
can't
that,
have my
dear.
birthday without you. It's so important to me and the children that you be there.
But you can't go because you have a scheduling conflict, right, Danny? Right? Anyway, when confronted with a sitcom trope, Danny chooses violence.
Mr. Lundy is completely booked for the next 2 months.
Yeah, sure he is. That's why he's able to schedule a dinner next Friday by himself without even consulting his secretary about it.
Don't cancel.
But you should cancel the birthday dinner with your wife who isn't in love with you anymore. That would be the easiest thing to do here. So he's really not going to do that, is he? Restaurant does not have Lloyd, Bo, and Jeff Bridges outside greeting guests.
Smoking or non-smoking? Non-smoking.
Smoking! I found the best way to keep from smoking again, lighting up, is to be around those who do smoke.
They agree to this.
I thought I saw Clint Eastwood. That would make my day.
Shit, I guess that was way too easy of a joke. I should have waited for the movie to make the hacky joke first.
Fellow gives a gift like that, he wants more than a piece of her heart, eh?
This movie is 93 minutes in, and Mrs. Doubtfire's taunts are just bullying at this point. The movie plays on your love of Robin Williams to the point you forget that he's ridiculously the bad guy here. Remember earlier when the movie established that Daniel would go to great lengths to change in privacy, even if it meant changing in a tiny, tiny stall? The movie doesn't. Then Danny walks into a spacious stall that has enough room for a giraffe to do a pirouette, even bigger than the one he used earlier in the movie. It's almost like he should have just come in here to change in the first place. Also, wouldn't someone find the bag and turn it into the front desk? Do women go into bathrooms and ignore suitcases? I know they ignore the no-talk protocol that exists in the men's room, but suitcases? By the way, I could have done without all that bathroom business and gone straight to this shot here. I would have had zero questions about it, and we'd be several sins lighter.
Make it fun and entertaining. If it's something you'd enjoy, they'd enjoy it.
Did this movie just suggest that a kid's show has to be based on what adults enjoy? Because that is how we got Ren and Stimpy. And I blame Ren and Stimpy for basically all f***ed-up kid shows that came afterward.
Well, I wonder what's happened to Mrs. Doubtfire.
Did Danny hear that? Or did he read Stu's lips there? Anyway, I hope none of this works out. I hope Miranda double divorces him, and he can only visit his kids by viewing them through a telescope. This puts on a scent thing helps the insanity that is about to explode on screen, but why does Daniel think he needs to take up more time getting himself ready? Thought he was in a hurry. At this point, Mrs. Doubtfire has probably been gone for at least 15 minutes, and somehow Miranda, who loves her, didn't even bother to check in on her.
I'll have the jambalaya. And make mine not spicy. I'm allergic to pepper.
Then don't order the jambalaya!
Carpe dentum. Seize the teeth.
Here I come. Oh, here I come.
Remember earlier when the movie established that it takes Daniel great amounts of time to change back into Mrs. D, but here it happens swipe of lipstick fast? The movie doesn't remember. Also, the movie doesn't give me the satisfaction of watching Danny wait to get back in the stall where he stored his clothes while someone takes a giant
Hey, I need my orders for table 39.
39?
Good thing the host was so adamant about stating the table number earlier so that Danny can do some shenanigans. Guess kitchens like this can get this busy, but I'm not sure I believe Mrs. Doubtfire walking through here undetected. I tried to wear my Regal Cinema shirt to sneak into a movie theater I did not work at once just to see if I could do it, and I got kicked out of a movie called Wrist Cutters: A Love Story by the company I worked for. Totally worth it if you were wondering.
I'd like you to meet the host of your new show.
This is getting to Principal Skinner or Superintendent Chalmers levels of ridiculous, only with no Aurora Borealis. This appetizer is missing the thick-ass layer of cayenne pepper we just saw dumped on it. Ha 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 ha! It's so hilarious, he's allergic to pepper, and he's choking now. Ha ha ha! No ribs are broken in this scene.
Oh my God! The whole time you would. The whole time!
The absolute glorious Sally.
Sorry about the pepper.
Wait, did Stu know that Danny did that? Holy shit, that choking must have taken all the anger out of him.
I'm addicted to my children, sir.
Fucking gross.
We will re-examine this case 1 year from now.
1 year isn't so bad. I mean, Daniel really did with Miranda and the kids and assaulted her boyfriend twice. This is probably better than a restraining order and having no rights to your kids. So mark the calendar, make it work, and get those kids back.
I don't do laundry. I don't do windows. I don't do carpets.
Apparently finding a housekeeper really is as bad as Danny made it out to be when he was pretending to be a whole bunch of unacceptable candidates earlier. Also, this grumpy nanny could have listed these things on the phone. No need to come all the way over here for extra impact on the doom and gloom of it all.
Guys, please don't be so depressed.
Because that's how you pop people out of their depression. Oh, and also just tell them to smile.
Hello, my dears.
Surprise, f***ers! The TV has been on the entire time, but tricked you because it was making no noise in the adjacent room until right when it needs to. Is the TV sentient? Is it plugged into the plot port? It's more than hilarious that after the restaurant incident, the conclusion the film makes is that Danny did not blow his interview with Lundy.
Look, Daniel, I know it's going to take a long time to get over all the fights and all the horrible things we said to each other.
Skip!
You just sat there in that courtroom. You knew the truth. You didn't say a word.
Yes, Danny, you are truly the victim here.
I miss her terribly.
I don't know how much had happened before or after, but there were a lot of movies in the 90s where the main character lies the whole time and yet somehow regains the trust of everyone they lied to at the end. I blame you, Opportunity Knox. I highly doubt this show became so popular like Lundy insinuates. It's like Pee-wee's Playhouse, only without any of the hyperactivity. Do kids really want to see stuff like this? It doesn't even have the ability to attract the 420 crowd. Dickhead Danny gets his happy f***ing ending.
They don't fight all the time, and they can become better people and much better mummies and daddies for you.
This heartfelt ode to divorce is touching, but what I want to know is if Miranda stayed with Stu or if she moved on to Daniel Craig. A rolling stop at a four-way with children in the car. Come on, Daniel, you just got them back. Don't f*** it up now.
Bye-bye.
This movie is 2 hours long.
You've led a trite and meaningless life, and you're a very bad person.
You hissed at me! You went...
You ate my begonias!
I admit it. I couldn't resist the temptation.
A man's suit should make him feel like a prince. It should cry out to the world, here I am. Don't judge me, love me.
This is the trick. This is the performance. Right here. This is why no one can detect his method.
Oh, to struggle against great odds, to meet enemies undaunted.
Sounds to me like you're daunted.
Just dropping off some film. Just a customer. I can still shop here, can I, Bill?
No, Si, you can't still shop here.
No, I believe I can, Bill.
Rumpelforeskin, baloney bop, bit of the old cunning linguistics.
You always were a cunning linguist, James.
Daddy?
I am your father.
I can only see them now with supervision. And you would know about sleeping sitting up in a hospital room for 2 months, holding her hand, because the doctors could see in your eyes that the terms visiting hours don't apply to you.